Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to do my review of AEW's Dynamite. Starting off the evening, we go to our first match of the night. It is Dustin Rhodes versus Bryan Danielson in a title eliminator tournament matchup. Number one, I thought it was a great matchup. Back and forth matchup between both Dustin Rhodes and Bryan Danielson, with Danielson keeping the pace of the match. Dustin hits a devastating suplex on Bryan Danielson. Dustin also hits a pile driver on Danielson as well. Danielson then applies a submission on Dustin Rhodes, and your winner of the match by submission is Bryan Danielson. A couple things I'll say about this matchup. Number one, great matchup. Fantastic matchup and a great opening matchup for AEW Dynamite. Obviously, this tournament for the title eliminator is absolutely insane. And to be honest with you, for me, I was kind of torn, man. Obviously, I knew Bryan Danielson was going to win this matchup, but it would have been great to see Dustin get the win here and move on to maybe have an opportunity to get the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. But like I stated before, man, this is Bryan Danielson's tournament to win, man. Obviously, he's the clear-cut winner for this tournament. You know, my prediction for the final is going to be Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson, and that's going to be a phenomenal matchup if that actually does happen, man. It's going to be absolutely insane. The other thing I'll take away from this match, too, was that sitting in the crowd was none other than 205 Live's Tony Nese. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about what Tony Nese has been doing. It looks like Tony Nese is working with AEW. It looks like he possibly had signed a contract with Tony Khan and working with AEW. I think that's absolutely phenomenal, man. Tony Nese is a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal wrestler, man. I think he'd be a great addition to the AEW roster with a lot of good matchups he could have with the likes of Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega. There's so many good matchups Tony Nese could have in AEW with the roster they have right now that would be fantastic matchups, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to happen with Tony Nese. And again, hats off to Bryan Danielson for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we have a Tony Schiavone interview with Sting. Before Sting gets a chance to say anything, MJF is here. MJF pretty much disses Sting and Darby Allin. He also makes references to Lex Luger, which obviously, his condition's not so great right now, which really ticked off Sting. Sting ends up attacking MJF, and then Pinnacle will pretty much come out and attack Sting, which was pretty much a message from MJF to Darby Allin. And it looks like we're going to get a match between MJF and Darby Allin at Full Gear. And if I was to book this matchup, I would have MJF versus Darby Allin in a last man standing match. I think it would be a phenomenal matchup to see. Hopefully we get a chance to see that at Full Gear. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Penelope Ford versus Ruby Soho in a TBS tournament matchup. Again, this was a good matchup, back and forth matchup between both Penelope Ford and Ruby Soho. But Ford pretty much attacks Ruby Soho. Ford was keeping the pace of the match. The bunny is here. Ruby then hits a roll-up on Ford, pinning her for the 3, and your winner of the match and moving on in the TBS tournament is Ruby Soho. So hats off to Ruby Soho for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Anthony Green versus Bobby Fish. Again, it was a decent matchup. Back and forth matchup between both Anthony Green and Bobby Fish, with Bobby Fish keeping the pace of the match. But Bobby Fish ultimately hits the finish on Anthony Green, hitting him for the 3, and your winner of the match is Bobby Fish. After the match, though, Bobby Fish ends up attacking Anthony Green again after the matchup. And then CM Punk comes down to the ring, pretty much stops the attack from Bobby Fish on Anthony Green. So it looks like we might get a matchup very, very, very soon between Bobby Fish and CM Punk, which I'm all for. And the other thing I'll say about Bobby Fish, number one, to me, it's great to see him in AEW. Absolutely. Bobby Fish, obviously being a part of Undisputed Era, a phenomenal stable in NXT, or at least which once was NXT. I don't know what the hell it is now. But, seeing Bobby Fish be an addition to AEW, man, I think it's absolutely fantastic. But hopefully Bobby Fish, some people say he's out of his, not out of his element, but out of place, because it's hard to see Bobby Fish without being in a stable or working with Adam Cole. So I don't know if he's going to be a part of a stable, or if just Bobby Fish is going to ride solo in AEW and, make one hell of a name for himself under the AEW banner, which I'm absolutely all for, and I'm definitely looking forward to, the matchup between Bobby Fish and CM Punk, man. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. But hats off to Bobby Fish for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Eddie Kingston versus Lance Archer in a TNT or title eliminator matchup. Again, I thought it was a good matchup. Eddie quickly attacks Archer, but Archer was keeping the pace of the match. But Lance hits a devastating moonsault, which he ended up landing on the top of his head. Eddie ends up hitting a roll-up, hitting him for the 3, and your winner of the match was Eddie Kingston. A couple of things I'll say about this matchup. Number one, this match in the title eliminator tournament between Kingston and Archer was absolutely awesome. And again, hopefully, Lance Archer gets well, man, because that moonsault, when he landed right on his head, looked absolutely brutal. Looks like he's going to be out for a little while, recuperating and stuff. So hopefully everything goes well with Lance Archer. And again, Eddie Kingston getting the win. I kind of predicted him getting the win. I kind of feel like he's the underdog in this tournament. And again, this just sets up Eddie Kingston versus Bryan Danielson, which is going to be absolutely insane. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. So hats off to Eddie Kingston for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Jungle Boy versus Brandon Cutler. I thought it was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Jungle Boy and Brandon Cutler, with Jungle Boy keeping the pace of the match. But Jungle Boy ultimately hits the finish on Brandon Cutler, and the winner of the match is Jungle Boy. After the match, though, Jungle Boy calls out the Elite. Adam Cole is here. Young Bucks are also here as well. They end up attacking Jungle Boy, and they pretty much, Young Bucks throw Jungle Boy off the stage down to a bunch of tables below. So again, this whole storyline between Jurassic Express and the Elite is far from over, man. So I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to happen next. Maybe we might get the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express. So again, well, I guess we'll stay tuned for that. But hats off to Jungle Boy for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is the main event of AEW's Dynamite. It is Malachi Black versus Cody Rhodes. I thought this was a great matchup, back and forth matchup between both Cody and Malachi Black. But Cody hits a crossroads off the apron on Malachi Black through the tables ringside. Andrade ends up showing up. Andrade ends up pointing at Arn Anderson. Malachi then sprays mist into Arn Anderson's face. Malachi then hits a fade to black on Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes then gets up, hits a crossroads on Malachi Black, pinning him for the 3, and your winner of the match is Cody Rhodes. A couple of things I'll say about this matchup, man. Number one, phenomenal matchup. Obviously this was like the trilogy matchup between Cody Rhodes and Malachi Black, and some people were not for Cody Rhodes getting the win against Malachi Black here on Dynamite. Look, the way I see it, I feel like eventually we might see Cody Rhodes turn heel. I think it's eventually going to happen. I think with Malachi Black letting Cody Rhodes get the win here, it might, fuel that, heel turn with Cody Rhodes. And I'm all for that. The other thing, too, that I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm all for it, is Andrade and Malachi Black. Because it looks like, maybe they're possibly working together, which if they do, and somehow they form a tag team, sign me up, man. Because those guys would be great tag team champions. Andrade's been on, a great run in AEW, and Malachi Black has been on one hell of a tear since he has joined AEW, man. I think this was the first loss he actually took under the AEW banner. So again, and the fans love Malachi Black. He's definitely a crowd favorite, and he has a lot of potential in AEW, man. And I'm looking forward to it. And again, with Andrade, who knows what's next for Andrade? Obviously he's had a couple matches with Pac. He helped FTR beat the Lucha Bros for the AAA Tag Team Championship, so maybe he's just trying to put out some plugs there and maybe create a stable of his own, or, who knows. My thing was when Andrade came in, it would be awesome if he made another LWO, in AEW. I thought it was a fantastic stable in WCW, and if Andrade had the opportunity to have that in AEW, I think it'd be absolutely fantastic, man. But both Andrade and Malachi Black have been doing one hell of a job since they joined AEW. So I'm definitely looking forward to what's going to happen next for Andrade and Malachi Black. And again, hats off to Cody Rhodes for getting the win in this matchup. But as far as AEW's Dynamite, I always give these shows a rating from 1 out of 10. I'm going to give AEW's Dynamite a solid 7.5, man. I thought this was a really good show. I'm not going to sit here and say this was the best Dynamite I've ever seen, but it definitely was not the worst. Again, seeing Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black, phenomenal matchup. And again, just, you know, the stuff with MJF and Sting. Obviously, it looks like we're going to get a match between MJF and Darby Allin, which might take place at Full Gear. And like I, you know, stated earlier, if that match were to happen, I would definitely have that match at Full Gear in a last man standing match. I think it'll be a phenomenal matchup between both MJF and Darby Allin at Full Gear. But this is my review of AEW's Dynamite. I hope you guys are out there staying safe, be careful, and remember, stay classy.